Hello everybody, and welcome to the Rebooted Reviews. Today, I will be going over set number 70795, Mask Maker vs. Skull Grinder. This set contains 171 pieces. Now I'd just like to preface this by saying that the Mask Maker is named Ekimu, and the Skull Grinder is called Kulta. Now for ease of review, I'm going to go over each of these figures separately. So we're going to start off with Kulta. Now, Kulta has a very consistent color scheme consisting of translucent reddish neon orange, gunmetal, and silver. He features the standard 11 points of articulation in his ankles, knees, hips, wrists, elbows, shoulders, and his neck. And he has an extra joint in his neck to raise his head. Now, he's not necessarily without his flaws. There are two exposed ball joints on his torso, and his arms do tend to flop around a bit due to his mask stealer status being extremely heavy, and even by adding an extra friction gear, it doesn't really help all too much. You're probably better off doing 2 extra friction gears, or just plain old as many as possible. There's not a lot of breaks in his color scheme, but there is this pin, which is not very obvious at all, and there is this yellow gear and blue pin. There are 2 gaps on his torso, though. One here, and one in here, and they're pretty bad, but they're only visible from the side. Now, let's look at Ekimu. Now, Ekimu also features a consistent color scheme consisting of gold and translight blue. And his bone pieces are actually almost all translight blue, and he does feature a bit of silver in his buzzsaw, his hands, and his feet. The only flaws in his color scheme are these 2 blatantly obvious red pins, and this blatantly obvious yellow gear. But considering he's gold, it's not so bad. He features the same amount of articulation as Kulta, except he only has 1 joint in his head. The mask stand follows much the same color scheme, and it's a mask stand. It's mainly for display. Ekimu doesn't really have any build flaws. In fact, he's probably the biggest draw of this set. If you want to get this set just because of Ekimu, go for it. And the mask of creation, that's really important too. His only major flaws that is the same as Liwa's is that his gearbox is kinda high, and so it occasionally interferes with the mask launching function, depending on how you have his head, as well as looking up. You have been warned. Now, I feel that the mask stand deserves its own segment, because there's something kind of weird, is that the mask of creation, for some reason, if you build it how it tells you in the instructions, it just kind of hangs, and that doesn't really look too good, and it won't stay at all. What you need to do is you don't really want to have these side pieces secure. You kind of want to splay them out just a little bit, so that way there's something keeping the mask of creation up. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It just depends on the amount of splaying that you do. That about covers that. So let's move on to those new parts and molds. And I'm doing it here because there's not enough space where I normally record this segment. So first up is the slimmer shouldered torso in silver. There's also the Gatling gun apparatus in light gray and translucent light blue. These pieces are recolors in black. I think they were used in Chima in its final wave. There's also the shortest variety of bone piece in translucent neon reddish orange. Finally, the eye stalk in the same color. And finally, there's Ekimu's replacement mask, which is translucent light blue and gold. Unifies his color scheme a bit better. Now, these are pieces which I'm not sure if they are new molds, but they're new to Bionicle. There's this wheel piece used in Kulta's shoulders, and there are two of those. They stack together. There's this piece, which is not new at all. It was featured in another theme, but it's very ornate and it fits. Now, for exclusive prints, there's Skull Grinder's chest plate. The color isn't new, but the print is, of course. Make of it what you will. And finally, the new molds. So there are 4 of the bone piece in the only length that they're available in, and the only color that they're available in. There's also 3, the most we've gotten this entire wave, of the axe-ish mask pull-off weapons. I don't know what to call them. So if you want a bunch of those, buy this set. But if you want a bunch of these, buy Skull Slicer, because there's only 1 of these, and there's 3 in his set. There's 4 of these round, large shoulder pad pieces, which are a spookier evolution of the Hero Factory bulbous piece, which was kind of similar. There is, of course, the ribcage piece in translucent neon reddish-orange, and in gold, there's Ekimu's shoulder pad. They're regal, so they kind of fit Ekimu. And of course, there's Kulta/Skull Grinder's mask in silver, same one as Skull Warrior. And finally, the main event, the Mask of Creation. Now, it has all these little Akoshan letters. I'm not sure if you can see it because it seems kind of blurry, and they don't really translate into anything, but I guess you could think that this mask is old, and the language has evolved since then, so this is the older version of the language. With all that out of the way, let's carry on with the review in the normal studio. Moving back to the figures and the normal studio, let's go on to their functions and play features. Now, the first of which is conflict in a box. Well, of course, they're going to duke it out in kind of a David and Goliath situation, because I think Kulta is pretty much the tallest figure we have so far. Speaking of height, the back instruction manual depicts Kulta facing up against both Tahu and Ekimu at the same time, and unlike the other Skull villains, Kulta is, depending on how you have him posed, the same height or taller than Tahu, which is really good because all the other Skull villains are short compared to their respective Toa, and it's really kind of unbelievable that how they're supposed to take the mask. It's just not going to work. And of course, Kulta has 2 methods of doing this. He can use his Mask Stealer Staff or his Hook Blade. But for Tahu, he's going to use his Hook Blade. He's going to yank that mask right off. And I know I lifted him up, but he would probably be able to reach Tahu's mask in real life. See how far that reaches? Now, Kulta can also, of course, use his Mask Stealer Staff to just kind of shove it over the other figure's face and yank that mask right off. And given the shape of this staff, it's pretty wide, so it can accommodate most masks. It's kind of simple. You just kind of shove it in there. Now, it doesn't always come off perfectly. Now, on the box art, Kulta is depicted trying to grab the Mask of Creation using his Mask Stealer Staff, which should work. Sorta. You can stick this in there. Now, the mask does fit in there quite nicely, but, of course, we don't want him to have it. We want Ekimu to reclaim his long-lost Mask of Power and look awesome while doing it. Of course, the other function is if you hit Kulta's horn, his mask flies off, or you could hit the eye stalk. And from there, if Ekimu's not wearing it, Kulta can then claim the Mask of Creation as his own. Now, Ekimu also has the same mask launching function, of course, but his is just the eye stalk. Both figures feature a gear function, which operates pretty much the same. Kulta, you just turn this gear and his arms try to swing. And then for Ekimu, it's just his hammer arm, which operates like so. Ekimu does feature a few more functions than Kulta. First of which is you take this non-color scheme breaking gear back here and just turn it to spin the shield. It's really, really fun. Works much smoothly and way better than the Star Drill and I saw in Korgot, whatever you want to call her, and Isotor's sets, respectively. And then there's also, if you turn the back of the hammer will shoot. Now, this is a great set. I would recommend getting it. If you don't get any other set, get this one, because it's got Ekimu and the Mask of Creation. That's pretty important. So, join me next time when I combine together these two with Skull Scorpio. Thank you for watching. Like, dislike, constructive criticism down in the comments below. Why not subscribe if you want to see more content from us. And I will see you guys in the next video. Adios.